They cannot get a win over us. I have to respect my father's history, his legacy, what he achieved in his career. I can't let him down, I can't let myself down, and I can't let my fans down.
This weekend, one of the most anticipated boxing matchups in years is set to explode in front of a sold-out crowd at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn are finally about to settle a score that has been brewing for over 3 decades. But this isn't just about two fighters. This is a clash of legacies, a battle that has been simmering since their fathers, the iconic Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, went to war in the early 90s. The stakes? Well, it's family pride, revenge, and the weight of a legacy that can either make or break these two men's careers.
Is it personal?
Yeah, it's always personal. Every opponent I fight is personal. People want to say it's strictly business. It ain't business. It's never business. If you're trying to put your hands on me and render me unconscious, it's never business. It's always personal. Every single one of my opponent. But this one has a little bit more history to it, should we say.
I'm a complete fighter. I've been doing this for so long now. I've forgotten more things than he knows. And that will show on the night. The experience, the dedication, and the will. These will all be the deciding factors.
For the past few years, a showdown between Conor Benn and Eubank Jr. has seemed like an inevitability. Fans wanted it. Promoters wanted it. The fighters themselves, well, they didn't just want it, they needed it. But of course, things weren't so simple. What started as a fight about two young men trying to make their own names turned into something much bigger and, let's face it, much more interesting. So what's all the fuss about? Let's break it down. First, we have Eubank Jr., the son of one of the most flamboyant and controversial figures in British boxing history. Eubank Sr. is a man whose personality was as big as his ability in the ring. His son, Chris Jr., has followed in those footsteps. Eubank Jr. has always been in the spotlight, whether he's winning big fights or delivering sound bites that get people talking. But the thing about Eubank Jr. is that he's always fallen just short of reaching the ultimate level in boxing. A few losses at key moments have meant that despite his talent and marketability, the world title has eluded him.
There's nothing I'm more comfortable with than being in a gym or fighting. Once that bell goes, I'm at home. I'm calm. I know what's gonna happen. I know what to do. Me fighting guys in the ring and sparring is like you reading a book. I just know what to do. I know how to do it. I enjoy it. I do it on a regular basis. It's soothing. It's enjoyable for me.
And then there's Conor Benn, the son of the legendary Nigel Benn, a man known for his ferociousness in the ring. Nigel Benn was all heart and power, and Conor Benn, though not quite as established as his father, has made a name for himself as a skilled, tough, and dangerous fighter. The thing is, Benn has been through some serious drama in recent years. His original fight with Eubank Jr. was supposed to take place in 2022, but that fight was derailed when Benn failed a drug test for clomiphene, a substance linked to fertility drugs. The fight was canceled, leaving Benn to defend his name while fans were left in limbo. The result? A 934-day wait for a fight that only grew more intense the longer it was delayed. Now, with Benn's ban lifted and the fight back on, there's a lot more at stake than just boxing pride.
My fighting style is the product. The product sells. So for me, whoever I fight, it will never be a dull fight, whether it goes 12 or 1. I plan on closing the show every time I see an opening. And no doubt, I'll come out there, a couple hot skips, right hand over the top, followed by a left hook. I'm definitely gonna let him know he's in there with a man who wants to inflict a lot of pain, a lot of damage. I'm not coming in there to play around. If I can render him unconscious, I will.
For Eubank Jr., this is a must-win fight. He's been calling for revenge ever since Benn's failed drug test and the subsequent drama that followed. Eubank Jr. has lost his fair share of big fights, but a loss to Benn, a man who is smaller and less experienced, could signal the end of his career at the elite level.
I said if I lose to Conor Benn, I retire. That is a harrowing thought to know that if I don't pull this off, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, on April 27th, there's no more boxing, which is all I've done since I was 14 years old.
For Benn, This is his chance to prove that he's not just a product of his father's name and to earn back the respect of the boxing world after the controversy that has plagued him. He needs to rebuild his reputation. And what better way to do that than by defeating the son of his father's biggest rival?
You know, it's one of them fights that never seemed to go away. I couldn't not give the British public this fight. You know, and that's strongly how I felt about it. And it was a fight that just had to happen. It was just lingering around. You know, once I put this to bed, then, you know, I'll drop back down to 147 and do what I got to do.
The weight thing is major in here. Eubank Jr. has been fighting at a heavier weight class than Ben for much of his career. He spent time at middleweight and super middleweight, while Ben has primarily fought as a welterweight. This weight discrepancy has raised a lot of questions.
Yeah, my last few fights have been at 153. My last couple, sorry. One in each year. So I fought once a year, 153. So I am a welterweight.
What were you on the night of the fight at those fights?
I ain't got a clue. Nah, I wouldn't even know. Heavy. Yeah. I put on bowl. I am a 147. All my best performances come 147. I feel strong at 147, but I feel strong enough for 160 to do a number on this man and then drop back down. I want that WBC world title.
On paper, Eubank Jr. has all the advantages: size, experience, and arguably the better all-around skill set.
You're the naturally bigger guy, 160 pounds, middleweight, and you're fighting Conor Benn coming up 2 weight classes. How much of an advantage do you think you have in the size, strength, and power department?
I keep hearing this 2 weight classes thing. He's not coming up 2 weight classes. His last fight was at 156 pounds. He's putting 4 pounds on. He hasn't been a welterweight for 3 years. This fight isn't about size or weight. It's about skill. It's about dedication. It's about expertise. And all those areas I excel in and have got many, many more years of experience over Conor Benn, and that will be the deciding factor on the night.
Now, let's talk about the build-up to this fight. If you've been following the drama, you know that things have been far from smooth. In fact, this fight has seen more than its fair share of spectacle before the first bell has even rung. Eubank Jr. slapped Ben in the face with an egg during a press conference. And yes, it was just as ridiculous as it sounds. Sure, he was fined 100,000 pounds for the stunt, but it worked. It kept the fight in the headlines. But
he still never cheats. He still never lies. He still never cuts any corners. And yet he is still the bad guy. Isn't it incredible?
Can I just applaud you? What you did that week, that was, if there's ever a fighter that needs a master class on how to promote, how to be themselves, how to command the room, how to be cerebral, clinical with the trash talk, you owned everyone.
And then there's the emotional side of this. It's clear that both fighters carry the weight of their family legacies. Eubank Jr. is desperate to live up to the reputation of his father, while Ben wants to carve his own path. But there's also that personal animosity, the kind that can only come from a rivalry that's been simmering for so long. Ben has spent the last few years dealing with the fallout of his failed drug test and the subsequent media frenzy. For him, this fight is more than just a comeback. It's a chance to reclaim his place in the sport and prove the doubters wrong. On the other hand, Eubank Jr. has always been a polarizing figure. Some love him for his brashness, his willingness to put on a show, while others see him as a fighter who can't quite get over the hump. But regardless of what you think of him, one thing is clear. This is a man who is motivated by one thing: revenge.
This fight is everything. Too much has been said, too much has been done, too much has happened in these last couple of years. And everyone needs to know who's the real deal, who's the fake, who's the phony, and who is the truth. You know, one of us is lying.
Listen, there was a lot of noise, there was a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of, should we say, hatred, bitterness towards the game. You know, I'm excited to be back, and I feel like this is a new and improved version of the man I was. You know, I was 25 years old at the time. The fight's twice the size, and I just feel like now is the right time for me to give this man the worst beating he's had his whole career.
So what's going to happen? Will Eubank Jr. live up to the hype and show that he's the superior fighter? Or will Ben pull off the upset and silence his critics once and for all? There's no shortage of drama leading up to this one, and there's no telling how it will play out. What we do know is that this is the fight of the year in British boxing. So who are you rooting for to win? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like for more boxing content like this.